and welcome to another Red Alert 3 livecast. I am GVH Michael, and this is going to be game number 1 of the finals of the 3-year anniversary tournament between the yellow Allies player on the left of Infinity Isle. It is Vindies versus the red Allies player on the right. It's Pika. So a very, very tough day for both these players, and both of them really tough opponents to get here as well. There's been quite a lot of good games today. But both players this time just going to be starting off with a single barracks and just a few peacekeepers to begin with. So I wouldn't expect too much heavy aggression at this stage in the game anyway. But there are a few variations of the build, whether you sell your power plant, whether you just fully want, whether you build a second power plant before you expand to get the extra peacekeepers to push, or whether you expand on low power to simply get your expansion faster. Multiple variations as well, faster airfield, which tech building you choose. But I think essentially the way that this is going to go, Vindies is a little bit unsure of what Pika is doing, so he's sending 2 scouts around the map. Oh, and Pika is very, very determined to anti-scout this game. He doesn't really want Vindies to have any idea what's going on. Essentially could signal some sort of strange play from Pika this game. But both players just trading units in the centre. I think only 1 unit fell out of Vindies over there. But little does Pika know there's another scout coming in. So if there is something strange, which indeed there isn't, he's going to be able to be fully aware of this. Essentially, getting the scout off just means that he's going to have peace of mind, knowing there isn't definitely nothing strange coming out. Even if there isn't, it's nice to know that there is definitely a standard game coming out. No like crazy shenanigans or anything like that. Nice dog micro out of Vindies there, by the way. Just making sure that essentially he kills 2 dogs, and yeah, he kills 2 dogs for 1. So nice out of him there. Essentially bringing 1 from all the way out the other side, just delaying the attack for as long as possible, and knowing when to pounce. So all these peacekeepers in a nice position out of Pika here. Vindies not wanting to engage into this, surely not. But going for the early airfield. This essentially means that he might be able to break through the centre with these peacekeepers, but he's not going to be able to get the early economic lead such as Pika has at this point. Oh, and what we're seeing here, we're seeing Vindies go for an MCV push. He's looking to try and break through the centre very, very heavily with his airfield, with these peacekeepers, and with his MCV. And currently, well, this dog has scouted it, so he should be able to see exactly what's going on, and he's building some javelin troopers to defend this exact same thing. Possibly just simply to stop these Vindicators, but I mean, it's going to work. They're both going to work out as well for themselves. Does he build a turret? I mean, he's just building the backs for the back. Good choice out of Pika there, just building it a little bit safer. Although saying that these peacekeepers could potentially have just ran it and killed it. Just trying to just tickle away at the MCV over here. Is Pika's peacekeepers just trying to get as much damage as possible. And a second barracks is of course now out. This is where of course it's going to turn into a peacekeeper spam, and Vindies is going to try and control the high ground, maybe even get the refinery, and just control this stage of this position in the game. It's a very crucial position to hold, and if you can do this, you can maybe just expand backwards and hold this one, maybe even there as well later on in the game. It's just a good position to hold. But now, without the peacekeepers to actually defend this turret, the turret might indeed go down. Lots and lots of Vindicators are out, but he needs more than this if he's going to be able to take on this peacekeeper army. And it's a little bit too much, and it might just force his MCV back. Lots and lots of damage. He could potentially move closer and get the extra damage off, as peacekeepers do more damage, of course, when they're closer to the target. But Vindies manages to get a barracks out. Will he get a lucky bark off? I think that's what he's trying to do here, but I don't think Pika is going to allow that to happen. MCV very low in health, doesn't quite manage to take off the barracks. He has to be very careful, not allowing these infantry to get rolled. As he slowly but surely tries to pick off this MCV, is he going to manage to get it? It's going to be very close. If he doesn't manage to get it with the infantry, though, surely the Vindicators are going to get the final blow. So I don't... Oh, but nice bark there. Okay, finally the barracks does go down, and now the MCV is purely vulnerable. Even if the Peacekeepers don't get it, here are the Vindicators to finish off the job. There it goes, and that will surely be it. Pika will take game number 1. Hello and welcome to game number 2 of this 3-year anniversary tournament finals between the Red Allies player on the left of Cabana Republic. It is Pika versus the Yellow Allies player on the right of the map. It is Vindies, currently up 1-1 in the series. Now, of course, Vindies started with a 1-point lead, so Pika won game number 1 and tied up the series with that. So we're going to have to find out where it goes from here. So 2 barracks start out of Vindies to begin with, and only a single one out of Pika. So 2 barracks is a little bit unusual, especially on a map which is so big. But I mean, if he can get across the map, I think the aim of this is essentially just to get map control and take both the oil derricks. And I think he should have a good enough and easy enough time doing that with such a heavy Peacekeeper count. But currently, no engineers yet. So okay, there is the first one, and maybe you'll see another one shortly after. But scouting across the map, he should be fully aware of this already. I mean, with this dog scouting in the center, he sees so many Peacekeepers, he knows exactly what's going on. So there it is, both the engineers now coming out, and he's going to try and take and capture both those as soon as he can. You should have an easy enough time to capture them, as there is nothing to really contest them at this stage. Now, it looks like this engineer will get the first capture for Pika, but the recapture will definitely go in favour of Vindies. That is it, indeed he gets there. Now the MCV moving forward to get his expansion on without any tech structure means he probably feels comfortable to defend this location with these garrisons as they are. So where are the engineers? I think they should be headed over to the respective oil derricks now. Did one of them go down? I think one of them might have fallen. Yeah, one of them fell. Nice pick off out of Pika there. Vinny's not quite paying attention in one split moment, and in fact it falls. So instead he just tries to destroy that one on the left. And goes... Oh, I don't like this positioning at all. Of course, if you build like an airfield or something next to a refinery like this, it can mess up pathing. But setting the walls did that, in fact, help him out there, so that shouldn't leave him in too much of a detrimental position. But going for the airfield in a little bit more of a forward position, and the refinery on the front line as well, does mean that so far Vindy seems to be in a decent position. Moving his MCV very aggressively once again. Is he going for another MCV push? I don't think this is going to work. I mean, his Peacekeeper count isn't high enough to really fight off someone who essentially has a very similar Peacekeeper count. And going in with his MCV, he has Vindicators on the back of this, but he's fighting against an Apollo. That's not going to work. I don't think this... I don't like this push at all out of Vindies. Like, maybe he can make this work, but I don't see a way. It's looking like he's fighting a lost cause, trying to move into this position. Maybe if he can move just simply right into the main base of his opponent, crush some walls and kill these refineries, then maybe that might be okay. Maybe that's his plan. If he can do that, then maybe he'll be in a decent position. But even if he does that, I don't think he'll have enough units to deal with his opponent. I mean, if Pika can get like three Apollos out and just camp this airfield, there's going to be no more use out of this airfield in this game. At least for a substantial amount of time. So I'm surprised he didn't just go for the crushers there. I mean, he's perfectly capable of doing something like that. Instead, just going for the turret, might even be forced to pack up, which is definitely not a position he wants to be in. All these peacekeepers clumped up could mean that you could get a favourable engagement with these peacekeepers if he decides to attack. Instead, looks like he's just going to try and stay back and just complete this turret. Here it is. So yeah, 3. Oh, this is very nice out of Pika. 3 Apollos over here, and I think this is a Javelin Riptide moving forward. Yeah, 3 Javelins in the Riptide, and he's looking to get quite a lot of damage in over there. So a turret was actually used defensively to save his MCV there. When now Javelins are finally out, but I mean he could have killed these refineries by now. Sacrificing his main base. Essentially, he knows that his main base is absolutely forfeit now. He might be able to kill one of these Apollos in the meantime, but you know that's not enough. One refinery has fallen, and now Pika looking to expand again. During all of this, of course, all the units that Vindies really has are ground-based. Yes, he's lost all of his aircraft. Okay, he has 2 Vindicators remaining actually. He managed to keep 2 alive. But Pika could potentially just send a prospect up to the north and take some free refineries. I can't see that being scouted anytime soon. Maybe later stages of the game. For now, I mean, he has to defend these refineries because there's a lot of infantry and how many peacekeepers are in these garrisons? Okay, so there are 5, 6 if you include the one outside. I don't know if that's enough, to be honest. It might need more. It might need more infantry. These refineries, of course, very vulnerable to infantry because they can actually be attacked by infantry. So Pika is continuing the aggression on the right of the map, picking off both of the refineries, and Vindies trying to reassemble his economy in his opponent's base. But 2 Vindicators here. Their job is essentially just to thin the numbers of this peacekeeper, so if they actually try to attack, they won't be able to do the damage that they need to do. Because if he engages from this location, Pika isn't going to get the benefit from this garrison. And he's not going to be able to get the favourable engagement that he really wants to take. But I mean, these peacekeepers are falling like flies. These peacekeepers are not being microed to their full potential, and they've all fallen down. There's a couple of them in. Now the way to think of this is, Pika has an airfield right next to the opponent's base, so if he wants to go for bombing runs, he's right next to it. But also at the same, try to expand northwards, but this nice garrison out of Pika will stop that from happening. And now the MCV, whoa, oh, that was a nice move. I missed that. One of the prospects was deployed at the side, given build radius and allowing Pika to build a turret in his old main base. Very nice play out of Pika there. Now essentially he's shutting down the last refineries out of Vindies. And if he can kill this refinery, that will be it for his economy. Yes, he has an oil derrick, but that's not going to be enough against someone who has 2 refineries mining. So all of Vindies' production remaining, all of his buildings remaining are essentially in his base, apart from this single power plant over here. If this goes down, there's going to be nothing else for him to do, nothing else for him to build from. And if he can get this Vindicators in for this bombing run, that's going to be it. The refinery's gone down. All there's economy remaining is this oil derrick, and that is not going to be enough with the Riptide Javelin inside your main base, firing against your MCV. That's it. Pika wins game number 2, and Vindies will fall behind. Pika's 2-1 up. Hello and welcome to game number 3 of this championship finals, the 3-year anniversary tournament finals between the red Allies player at the bottom left of Battle Base Beta. It is Pika versus the yellow Allies player at the top right of the map. It is Vindies. Pika winning 2 games in a row against Vindies. Of course, Vindies did get the 1-point lead with having won through the winners bracket without dropping a single series. But Pika, bringing back the series for him, currently has the lead 2-1 up. So of course, Battle Base Beta, Allies Mirror, it's only going to start one way. It's only ever going to start one way, and that's with the Triple Barracks Peacekeeper spam towards the centre. And we're just going to see Peacekeepers. Essentially, there's no point in moving this camera position for the next 5 minutes. Nothing is essentially going to happen apart from what's going to happen right here. Both players are just going to essentially try to take the centre, or essentially to stop the other player from taking the centre. and this doing as much damage against the opponent's garrisons as possible, but nice focus fire out of both players there. Might pick off one unit. Okay, so Pika very slightly ahead, having picked off... Actually, Vindies very slightly ahead after having picked off one of Pika's units. So it gives him a slight lead against with the Peacekeeper count, although the garrison is slightly lower in health out of Pika at the moment. So yeah, this is essentially all we're watching right now. We're just watching Peacekeepers suicide against each other and try to take the garrisons. Fun game, isn't it? So essentially, both players, I'll move the cameras for now, I guess. Essentially, both players are just continuing with this Peacekeeper production for now. Vindies moving to the water expansion, Pika moving up to the northern expansion. But it looks like for now, Pika does seem to have a little bit of an advantage, having just killed all the Peacekeepers inside his opponent's garrison, and then does not respond in kind, doing the exact same thing to the other one. So Vindies a little bit further behind again, and Pika seems to be just in full control. Now, just continuing with the Peacekeeper production, Vindies just continuing with 2 barracks, halting production for now so we can get the refinery up. But Pika just selling one of them off and moving his MCV to a very aggressive position. So maybe if he has to build he can build a turret in the center. But I feel like for now he's in a safe enough position that he can delay that, so he can prioritize the refinery. So there it goes. So finally selling off the barracks, Vindies looking to transition into something else, and also Pika selling off the barracks as well. Now the question is here, what everyone is going to do from this stage onwards. I mean, from this stage, Vindies can go for the naval guard, he can go for an airfield. Pika can go for literally anything in the centre. He's going for more barracks in a more favourable location for him. He wants to continue the infantry production, continue with the infantry pressure, and just move his MCV with his army. Try and push forward and break the main base. So it's going to be an airfield out of Vindies. Now, the amount of money that Pika has, it must be quite high at the moment. Yeah, it's floating quite a bit because he only has one barracks. So he's going to potentially have to get another barracks or an airfield or some sort of other production structure to spend his money. While Vindies is looking to expand even further, going for a 4th refinery on the left of the map, currently unscouted, so this is going in his favour. If this gets scouted, I mean, there's nothing to stop all these Peacekeepers running down, just running rampant at that side of the map. Turret comes down, leads the charge with this Peacekeeper engagement, and forces all of these forces all of Vindies Peacekeepers back to the low ground. Now, nice scouting out of Pika. They're sending a lone Peacekeeper around the side to see if there's any sort of hidden refinery. And you know what? He's going to find gold. He's going to find gold. He's going to go over here and he's going to find exactly what he wanted to see. Hidden refinery. And now he's just going to send all of his Peacekeepers down there, surely, and find a way to deal with it. But currently the economic lead is in favour, of course, of Vindies, because he has that 4th refinery very, very quickly. So it just depends on whether he can actually defend this or not. And so far there aren't any units going down to really deal with it. There's a couple of straggling Peacekeepers, but that's not going to really be enough. I feel like he's going to need an awful lot more than that. So Pika responds, trying to be aggressive with his expansion, moves over to his opponent's high ground refinery location to look and try to potentially go in from this into an MCV push. And that'll be a very powerful position to be in. So going for 4 Vindicators. So, okay, he must be going for a Hydrofall, okay. There we go, so he will be able to manage to get up to the skies with the safety of this Hydrofoil. But for now, for a lot of this time, these Vindicators are not actually being in play, which means that Pika's army is just being so much more powerful. Finally, they managed to take the skies, and they will be able to defend this refinery for now. But both players now on 4 refineries, equal economic footing. Now, where's that hydrofoil? There it is. So we'll be able to defend this airfield in the water quite nicely. Now, the problem with Pika here is, the problem with Vindies is, he's really split up with his bases. His main base, completely unprotected. The water is fine for him. He's fine in the water. But the left base also he's got a few units, but he doesn't have very many. While Pika, he controls the center. He controls all of this high ground location, all of this location over here. So he's going to have full control of the important positions. When the engagements actually come, this is where you want to engage from. This is where you want your army to be. So it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be up to Vindies to really make something happen here, because Pika does seem to have the commanding position. And also on top of this, Pika can also expand backwards. He has these 2 refineries fully up for the taking whenever he wants to go there. So nice attempt at a cryo shot over there from Vindies, sorry. But Pika fully paying attention, and he's not going to lose that collector. He's going to move it off the line at the right time. Assault Destroyer coming out. This could be the move that he needs to get the damage that he needs to. Of course, if you switch between Black Hole Armor and turn it off at the last second, you can dodge Vindicator bombs, which means that these Vindicators are going to be little too useless against this Assault Destroyer. He's going to need something a little bit more substantial if he wants to take that out. Now, IFVs destroying walls and destroying a power plant on their own. Will they manage to get it done? Possibly. There's not that much to stop them at this stage. But the Assault Destroyer rolls in. Will he be able to get the damage that he needs to? And there are no javelins out, I don't feel like. So there's no potential for a force fire on the ground on laser lock mode to stop this Assault Destroyer from really being the damage dealing unit that it is. Damage negating unit, I should say. So Pika, realizing there was no way he was keeping this refinery alive, just sells it off and just tries to get as much of the money that he can get back from it. So Pika moves his MCV smartly back to the central location, so he can build turrets here if he has to, and just try and pressure this leftmost refinery from Vindies. Now, of course, with this army, Vindies is going to just continue to push through the center to his opponent's main base, and just try to remove his economy. Now, only dodging some of the bombs there, stopping the Black Hole Armor a little bit late, unfortunately. So a lot of those bombs did hit the target. And now Pika, just with so many units once again, just breaking on through. Oh, and a couple of the Vindicators do go down, trying to take on these IFVs alone. Not managing to do so. So 2 refineries are currently not mining out of Vindies at this side of the map. And it looks like the left is also under threat. MCV could get some good crushes off here. He's going to have to be careful and do a good split here with his units. Instead, just running back, trying to just delay this MCV from doing what it wants for now. I mean, a Cryocopter would be an excellent thing to have in his army this stage, especially with Assault Destroyers on the field. I would really like to see a Cryocopter come out and play. But for just now, doesn't seem to have those, and he's just going to continue pressuring forward with his infantry. Now, these refineries in the main base of Vindies, as I was saying before, are completely just... of Pika, sorry, they're completely just... They're so vulnerable. One is really alive at this stage in time, and there's going to be 2 refineries remaining out of Vindies, so the economy is going to be... Well, actually, Vindies has these 2 in his main base as well. This is not mining at this stage. So Vindies, with his pressure in Pika's main base, definitely turning the tides of things, and might just be his key into this game. He's going to have to be careful at this stage not to lose his MCV, and I feel like moving to the water might be his best bet. That's where he's safest. That's where he's got his units. On land, he doesn't have very much, and he has to really move to where he's safest. I mean, all these units over here now, just picking off the walls. They can take off the power plant. They can get the outpost if they need to. But the Vindicators just wrecking havoc against all these IFVs here. yes, one of them does go down, but if this one falls as well, there's not going to be that many units to really continue this aggression out of Pika. Of course, not wanting to waste his units. But these javelins are in range of this naval yard here. He's going to have to try and defend this, or he's just going to have to sacrifice his naval yard. What's he going to do? Okay, he's going to sacrifice the naval yard. There he goes. So currently it is 1 refinery out of Pika versus 2 refineries out of Vindies. Vindies has the economic lead, but Pika has a superior position. Yeah, he still has the center of the map. Scratch that, sorry, Vindies has 4 refineries. Vindies, without a doubt, is definitely in the favourable location. 4 refineries mining versus 1. Pika is in a world of hurt. I mean, he's going to have to get something drastic done very, very quickly, or he's just going to have to say goodbye. Vindies, I mean, Pika playing very well this game, but unfortunately not dealing with this attack round the side very well. Allowing this assault star and these javelin troopers around the side, not fully respecting their power. Oh, and now it goes down. There's no economy remaining for Pika, and that's it. Pika says GG, well played, and Vindies will tie up the series 2-2. Hello and welcome to another Red Alert 3 live cast. I am GBH Michael, and this is going to be game number 4 between Vindies and Pika. It's a little bit confusing because the score's 2-2, and yet only 4 games. Well, this is only the 4th game because, of course, Vindies started with a 1-point lead. Nevertheless, at the bottom left of the map, we have the yellow Allies player. It is Vindies. And at the top right, we have the red Allies player. It is Pika. So both players starting with a 2-barrack start. So similar to last game, but of course there aren't these garrisons to just sacrifice all of your units into like before. This time there's actually going to be a little bit more strategy involved, and a little bit more positioning, trying to actually take the more favourable engagement. But of course neither player at this stage knows that it's a 2 barracks from his opponent yet. They can probably guess, because it's a very common strategy in AVA, but it's not the only way of playing, of course. There are obviously multiple strategies. But the first loss might actually, slightly, oh, nice fight from both players. Small engagements, small micro skirmishes, but neither player taking a loss yet. 1-1 so far. But even using the engineer for the healing capabilities to try and help out in this fight over here. Not sending this one back, unfortunately, though, but trying to take his victories wherever he can. He's got to be careful not to lose his engineer, because, of course, Pika delays his engineer to simply try and get more peacekeepers out in time. So obviously both ways have their advantages, but it looks like oh, actually, let's scratch that. Pika actually got the early capture. Will it go down? He's gonna have to be careful with his engineer here, of course. Maybe he has a better location to go in for it now. Please decide to push forward. But the engineer of Pika is actually going in to try and get the capture of the other Alder. He has to be careful because there is a dog out in the water over here, trying to pick off this stray engineer over here, but Vindies trying to push even further in, moving into a bit of a choke point here, doesn't want to engage like this. Pika, fully aware of this, tries to push the issue, but not actually managing to get the engagement that he wanted to, of course. Of course, Vindies not wanting to attack like that. He's obviously a very good player, wouldn't want to sacrifice a game like that. So it's going to be IFVs out of Vindies now, so he's going to try and just make sure that he can make this peacekeeper aggression even more powerful by putting them in a vehicle. While Vindies just simply trying to get his expansion up, probably in the water. There he goes. So he's going to have the slightly better economy for now. But yes, and so far these vehicles haven't actually done anything yet. He's just running circles, trying to find the best location to engage. But the further he moves into his opponent's base, I mean, it's harder it's going to be to retreat. And without these IFVs, and without these Riptides, he's going to have to be very careful. And the way that he moves these in, he's going to have to move them around the right side, the left side that is, and actually get them into position to actually engage in time. So around the side, And this running circle, this is essentially what I mean. Oh, nice use of this collector here, getting the crushes off. That was an excellent move out of Pika there, but has the IFVs with the Peacekeepers this time. Will it be enough to really turn the tides in this fight? I mean, it's doing a lot of damage, but both players are taking heavy losses. At the same time, yeah, I think that Pika will lose all his units here, but at the same time, a lot of mining time is being lost with this. And the Riptide in the water, stopping the mining in this refinery as well. Vindies doing quite a lot of damage. And if he can kill this wall, these Peacekeepers will be able to get inside as well. Where is the MCV of Pika? It's going for the push. So 2 collectors over here now. He's not rebuilding this one, he's just decided to move it over to heal. And not... I don't know if that was a mistake. He's moved it to safety of the water, yeah. And he's moving it, he's getting the repairs off, but he's not going to be mining for quite some time. MCV now in position to do an MCV push against his opponent over here, but Vindies is smartly just stayed in position and just changing up his production. Went for the armor facility before, now changing up to the airfield, realizing he doesn't need that anymore. Picks up another collector. Now there's only one refinery mining, and that's only one refinery mining out of Pika versus 2. So the economy has reset, and that is if this one manages to make it inside without, if it doesn't die to these Peacekeepers, of course, it will be 2 refineries each, of course, with the oil direct advantage for Pika. But it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard for both players at this stage to actually decide where to actually engage. Now 2 Vindicators are out, so I'm surprised that he didn't decide to use this to keep these defensively and use this against his inevitable turret which came out. Instead, just tries to pick off this refinery and doesn't quite manage to get it. One of them goes down by his Apollo, and now, as a result of this, having not defended the way that he potentially could have done, he's going to lose a refinery. And you know, that might just be game losing. He moved forward, lost one of the Vindicators, and now all of a sudden he can't defend his main base. 2 turrets now, a second one next to this airfield. Yes, he's going to keep this one alive, but at what cost? I mean, he's going to lose a refinery now, and there's more and more javelins just constantly flooding out. If he can pick off this power plant, he's going to force his opponent into low power. Actually, no, he's going to stay in power. He's still in power for now, but forcing him into the skies, forcing him to attack against javelins and Apollos, never a position you want to be in. And now all of Vindies' units have now been taken out of the picture. Whoa! Oh, scratch that. I thought that was an MCV capture. Never mind. But he is going to try and do it over here. He's going to try and get the MCV capture, but that's going to be a very... It's his last attempt at salvation in this game. I mean, very, very close to dying at this stage, and all he has to do is pack it up, and there it's going to be. The final refinery of Pika is under threat from a turret, and Vindies is going to have to retreat to somewhere. But I mean, Pika's mining from 2 refineries. He has an oil dig. He's in excellent shape. I mean, even small things like not moving this collector to an expansion, not moving it properly, and just having... Oh, that was intentional. Okay, fair enough. He was doing that to stop the turret from attacking. I mean, it didn't really help, but yeah, I guess it's an annoyance for Pika. So at this stage, pretty sure that Vindies knows it's over. There's not really a way of him getting back into this game, but he's got the engineer anyway. He's trying to be cheeky. He's trying to find a way to do this, but I mean, the turret. He's got the engine. He's got the collector trying to get the crush. That's it. Pika takes game number 4 and takes the series to 3-2, bringing him to match points. Hello and welcome to another Red Alert 3 livecast. I'm GBH Michael, and this is going to be game number 5 between Vindies and Pika in this tournament finals, of course. So Vindies is going to be on the right of the map as the yellow allies player, and Pika on the left as the red allies player and yellow allies player, of course. So this time it's going to be Cabana Republic. It's going to be Vindies' map of choice, as of course Pika won the last game. I would not be surprised if we saw the exact same build. And oh, actually, scratch that. Vindies decided to only go for a single barracks this time. So Pika is going to have the Peacekeeper advantage to begin with. And Vindies is going to try something else. Let's have a look and see. Let's try and find out what he's going for this game. It could potentially be the IFEs like he tried last game. It could potentially be a number of things. But we're going to have to wait and see. Engineer coming out to try and get the capture at the top. Oh! And Pika picks off Vindies' engineer there. Very nice pick off there. That will really hinder his build quite a bit. And especially as he is a game down in the tournament. This is potentially his tournament life on the line. He can't be making like blunders like that if he wants to win this tournament. Of course, trying to chase down this engineer, potentially luring Vindies' Peacekeepers into a trap, and just leaving them a little bit vulnerable. And the engineer will indeed go in safely. So what's it going to be? It's going to be... I'm not too sure what it's going to be. It seems like it's going to be a naval yard, but it's a very late naval yard, and oh, it's possibly for... I mean, armor facility is an option, but 2 engineers is unlikely for that. Now he's going to have to be careful not to lose his engineers again. I'm trying to think what he's doing with this build over here. It is an armor facility, so he's going to be able to go for the IFVs with engineers and peacekeepers. Potentially go for 2 captures of these oil derricks. I mean, that seems like a waste. Maybe go for 1 capture of an oil derrick and move 1 in to try and capture this airfield. That would be also nice. But we're going to have to wait and see if he can make this work. Because of course Vindicator's now in play. And is he going to manage to kill his engineers in time? 1 goes down. The other one just manages to move to safety. So, not going to plan for Vindies so far. Losing 2 engineers and not really achieving anything with it. He's going to use his engineer as bait, I feel. Okay. There you go. Is in safety now. He has 3 IFEs. Is he ready to move forward is the question now. So Javelin Troopers coming out to try and defend these refineries. And trying to defend the airfield as well. Of course, you have to be very careful to move out of these IFEs as soon as he can. But we're coming in from the high ground, it means that he doesn't have the vision that he needs, which is a nice move out of Pika there. But was actually fully aware of what he was doing there. Moves ever further in. Will he manage to get the capture off that he so desperately needs? Moves next to this airfield. There it goes. Trying to capture this airfield. Will have not, of course, not capture it, but will force a sell-off. Scratch that. Allows them to capture it. And now he's... Okay. I'm very surprised about that. Now is he going to build some Vindicators aggressively like this? So Vindies in a very strange position here. So the IFE, of course the Vindicators can't reload now. And there are just lots and lots of Javelin Troopers trying to defend this off. But now the Vindicator can move in with all these units and just soak up the units and try and get 3 Vindicator bombs off. And if he can, that would be an excellent shape for him. Oh, nice Peacekeeper micro out of Pika there. Now with the bomb splits, good bomb splits, he should be able to move to safety and keep them all alive. Nice micro out of Vindies here, sorry. Now he has to be careful not to lose this Vindicator here, of course. Now with these Vindicators right in the heart of his opponent's base, it's very, very powerful. Of course, at the same time, managing to break through the wall at the top for Vindies here. Managing to try and get quite a bit of damage done on this refinery, but not enough. Vindies still in position to rebuild the walls, and this will be completely safe. Now there's firing away at these power plants, at these walls, trying to find a way to get some damage done to the economy of Pika. But will it be enough? MCV building an airfield in the water and trying to move forward to a better location to rebuild. But I'm not really sure where he's moving to. He's going for the oil derrick, it seems. But he's currently only got 1 refinery mining. The other collector is dangerously low to falling. It might just about stay alive with javelins in his garrison. But I think he might be just moving over to the expansion in the water. So of course, staying in his main base does give Vindies a number of just options for defense. It allows him to build turrets in his main base. It allows him to build walls again if he needs to. But what is his production? His only production is his airfield in his opponent's base. So both players have an airfield on the left of the map, and that's the only production they have. Vindies, so it looks like Pika's trying to get up the barracks. He looks like he's strapped for cash. Yes, he definitely is. While Pika, he has a lot of money. He doesn't seem to be in any economic trouble. Of course, Pika just keeping these infantry in the garrison here, just waiting for the cryo shot, waiting to try and attack the walls and go through to try and kill the refinery and the collector. But now getting up his older again. Now probably going for the refinery in the water. But I mean, his refinery in his main base now is very, very vulnerable. Trying to pick off the... He's going to try and pick off the airfield with his javelin trooper, these two javelin troopers. But it's going to be quite difficult. He's going to have to get some damage on these Apollos before they lift up into the skies. Not managing to get the focus fire in that he needs to. One of the Apollos goes down, but Vindies, keeping his with some nice Apollo micro, keeps his other Apollo alive and will be able to save this airfield. Now up to 3 refineries, and here is a cryo shot finally coming through. Pika will be able to break through the walls and kill off a couple of these buildings here. Now, of course, now he's going to have to be careful that this collector doesn't come out and crush himself. So it looks like now finally this airfield will be taken care of, and Vindies will have to build some of his own production for once. And all the crushers come off, refinery will stay alive. Nice play out of Vindies there, of course. So he's not going fast back to base. Oh, he doesn't have an airfield to do so, of course. Which means they will get picked off by those Apollos. And now it is 2 refineries apiece. Well, mining, that is. Scratch that. 3 refineries for Vindies. 2 refineries for Pika. But of course, Pika has the production. He has the units. Does he have the advantage? I'm not sure. I would still probably say that Vindies has the advantage in this game. Simply because he has more money. But the positioning on this javelin trooper, if he manages to get the kill in this refinery, Vindies should be aware now, should be getting a dog out to try and deal with this. But this is going to do a lot of damage in the meantime, and will it actually manage to kill this refinery? No, it won't. Nice building block. So now Pika trying to figure out what his plan is at this stage. What is his next production going to be? Is he going to move back to his old main base? That wouldn't be a bad idea. While Vindies is continuing to push forward, trying to be aggressive and trying to stop that exact thing happening out of Pika. No, instead, Pika is moving forward. Probably going to try and assemble himself in the center of the map to stop Vindies from just controlling the whole thing completely. Alternative being maybe push his opponent's base. Oh, but of course, forced to pack up with his airfield camp. Nice use of these Apollos over here now. Scratch that. 3 is better than 2. He's going to have no problem here. For Vindies in position to get his 4th refinery out. So nice use of the cryo shot once again. We'll pick off this power plant and just take whatever damage you can get. So picking off the javelin trooper. Nice move out of him there. But of course doesn't want to take this engagement here. I mean, 2 of the Apollos are on very low health. Takes a 1-for-1 trade. But I mean, he could have done a little bit better with those Apollos. I feel Pika could. So builds up the barracks again, and does decide to move back to his old main base. So he will try and reassemble his economy over there. But at the same time, Vindies 4 refineries now versus 2. Definitely a much favourable economic position for Vindies. Oh, Vindicator does go down. And the Peacekeepers are in position to try and harass this refinery on the left. Now, Vindies not prepared for this. This refinery could potentially very easily go down, in fact. Of course, the crushers from this collector are very, very dangerous. Of course, he's going to have to be very careful not to let that happen. That's why he's building some javelin troopers on the back of this as well. So splitting up his units nicely will stop this from getting out of control, but building the turret as well will indeed save the refinery. Nice decision out of Vindies there. And it's continuing with the Peacekeeper production. I'm wondering how much money Vindies has at this stage, because he doesn't have. Okay, so he's only got like, he's spending his money quite well, but I mean he only has the airfield and a barracks of 4 refineries now. I feel like he needs a little bit more production. So Pika does reassemble his economic standing in his main base now. 3 refineries versus 4, but he does need a little bit more. A few javelins trying to sneak their way around the back, but they will be met with a warm reception from these Peacekeepers. Trying to push forward again, but the turret is a little bit too much for these Peacekeepers to break. Cryo blast coming down now, which is of course enough to freeze down a refinery, an allied refinery that is. So Vindicator is just ready and waiting to try and get the kill on that. Will get picked up by these Apollos, however. But now the MCV out of Pika, where is this at the moment? Can't find it. There it is. Whoa, what is that? He's going for quadcopters. Okay. That might be okay. Quadcopters might not be a bad move. If you can get some javelins up to, of course, defend against the air. I actually scratched that. He has 3 Apollos. That's enough to defend against the air. But some quadcopters might be quite good in this army. A couple of dolphins sneaking around the side out of Pika here will be a good way to just try and pick up a couple of stray units in the water area. Maybe even get the refinery in the airfield. If he picks up the airfield, he'll be in great shape. But now a cryocopter coming around the side with one of these Vindicators will be an excellent move. It is retaking his position in this economic game. Moves forward with all these Peacekeepers as well. Pika, I mean Vindies not quite prepared for this. Has quite a lot of Peacekeepers, but not in the best positions. Now getting a lot of splash damage on Pika's Peacekeepers there. But I think he will just get forced back, and it will get defended. So first collector goes down over here on the right, and the second one will surely fall as well. This one will be a little bit harder to kill, but I don't think there's going to be too much contested over here at this point. So manages to get the collector. 2 collectors go down. Now might just simply go for the refinery. You don't have to be careful with this Vindicator. I mean, it's very low in health. There it goes. A little bit greedy was trying to go for this collector here. Now he's going to have to be forced back to his main base. Moving over this Star Rank Javelin. There's a lot of damage to it. Now he's going to have to be forced to retreat, or he's going to lose both these Apollos over here. Scratch that. Star Rank Apollo. Very powerful, it turns out. Now the Dolphins just skip past this power plant, go straight for the economy. Now they're going to try and do a lot of damage against this this collector over here. Will take out the refinery as well very shortly. Just gets sold off, in fact. Doesn't even want to attempt to keep that alive. Cryocopter comes back, completely unprotected, and of course Vindies Apollos will take those out without having too many issues. So we'll just have to rebuild these collectors in his main base there. And the cryoblast of Pika coming out this time will be freezing down his refinery as his own Peacekeeper just comes out and tries to get the kill off. He might have to be a little bit faster with that. I don't know, and I don't know if he can reach. Okay, he just can reach, in fact. So there it goes. Just does get sold off. I think it's slightly preemptively out of Vindies there, however. but does get sold off, does get the 500 credits back. And now he finally is rebuilding one of the collectors in the main base, another one slightly later. But picking off the airfield, picking off the power plant and the refinery in the water is a great move out of Vindies here. And all of a sudden Pika is in a little bit of hurt. Well, all of a sudden he's been hurt economically all game, but now a little bit more, in fact. And not rebuilding this refinery. It's possibly just sending this one back to mine there. But having the refinery in the water over here, he does have control of the seas at this stage. Now 3 IFVs come in, trying to control the skies a little bit more with these Apollos. And also get a little bit of harassment in the meantime. But going for the power plants, it's also a nice move. Just trying to just stop the production as much as possible out of his opponent, delay his strategy. But Javelin Riptide will be enough to deal with this. Of course, IFV's not very good against Javelin Troopers. But nice bomb splits will save the day for him at least. So 2 refineries now, every single production structure except for a naval yard. There's no way he can afford all this at once. He's gonna have to get a little bit more economy if he wants to get this to work. While Vindies just has free reign over the map, it seems. Pika forced into a corner, forced to try and get some damage done. But how's he gonna actually get the damage done when he can't get out of his own main base? Javelin Riptide once again probably has been scouted by this high ground from Vindies. Yes, of course it has. Fully aware of what's going on, he should be able to shut this Javelin Riptide down without too much of an issue. Even has a turret in place, so this will stop it from moving over to the high ground. Pika now scouting around will find that Vindies has this hidden refinery around the back of his own base. Could potentially send a Riptide down there to deal with it. But these Javelin Riptides, if the Riptide dies, all the Javelins are going to be loose and a little bit strained. Very, very vulnerable, so he cannot have this die. Probably be safest to send it back to repair. There it goes. Huge force out of Pika. Just down. Oh, scratch that. Okay, yeah, had a couple of units in the garrison there. But nevertheless, lost a lot of units for nothing really. And now all these units are stray and completely unprotected. So Vindi's sending a few units forward, caught off guard by this dog there. And now Vindi's and a little bit of pressure in the water over here. It looks like the Riptide will indeed go down, or at least will not manage to take off both these dolphins. And the Apollo a little bit in a bad location. I lose the star rank Apollo. That's a big deal, to be honest. Considering that Pika is in such a bad position economically, he has to keep all of his units alive, especially his very, very powerful ones. Now, will he do the Dolphin Dump Judge? Or will he get the bombs off? It's a question now. At the same time, what's happening over here? There's a couple of Riptides picking off those IFVs. But yes, both the Dolphins do indeed go down. Cryogeddon comes out, and of course, an IFV will be able to pick all of these off. That's a refinery, an airfield, and a barracks, all dead in the blink of an eye. Selling off the buildings essentially also means that there's going to be no veterancy given. That's a tiny bit given from that barracks over there. And of course also gives it the cash injection. Now, I thought for a weird moment that these javelins inside his garrison were shooting at his own Apollo there, but no, it was the IFV behind it. Nice crushes off with this tank over here now, and he should be able to defend himself on the high ground. That was a lot of the units that are Pika that have gone down there, and he's going to have to get something to get to work quickly. Now, it looks like Vindies is probably going to go for tier 3 at this siege. I mean, there's really no reason not to. No, in fact, it's going to be a defense bureau. While Pika just trying to get up some peacekeepers. I mean, he can try and push forward, but there's a turret at both of these entrances, and a huge army at one as well. He's going to have to try and break through somehow, but it's going to be very, very difficult, and I'm not sure how he's going to do it. Riptide's picking off the refinery now. Trying to do whatever he can. But Vindies on the high ground. Vindies with a vastly superior position. And with a cryocopter as well. Will help out his force. So another turret goes down. Will to stop him from advancing too far forward. The defense bureau potentially just for Spectrum Towers? I don't think what he's doing with it at this stage. I mean, he really doesn't need Spectrum Towers, but I guess it wouldn't hurt. Cryogeddon comes out, and of course, infantry very, very slow will not all be able to make it out of this radius in time. And his Riptide will just be able to pick up so many of these units. Of course, not for free though, because he's going to probably lose the Riptide in the process. But picks up a lot of this infantry. Nice defense out of Vindies there. So Pika trying to expand back, trying to get some more economy going. And 2-star rank Riptides. I mean, that's not too shabby at all. Vindies seems to just be having fun with his opponent at this time. Is this a Spectrum Tower which is queued up? I feel like it very well might be. No, it's just
Alright, who's my first pickup?
It's just the multi-gun turret. So the only thing that this defense bureau is doing at this stage is just using up an awful lot of power. So a couple of Riptides moving on the side will be able to pick off one of these collectors. I mean, it's completely undefended. The game took a really weird turn. This one has. It's like neither player knows quite what to do. Especially Vindies could just do anything at this stage. I mean, he's so far ahead, but Pika doesn't quite know what to do, so he's making weird decisions. But not giving up at all. Of course, moving forward. 2-star rank Javelin Riptides will of course beat 1 with only 1 veterancy upgrade. Are we going to be seeing tier 3 out of Vindies now? Come on, it's got to be tier 3 soon. No, it's going to be the Chronosphere before the tier 3. So the Chronosphere, of course, very, very powerful. Kills any units that can't move in a certain location instantly. So of course you can just Chronosphere an army of Riptides or whatever on top of a refinery and they will all die. So with its defensive position, all that Vindies really has to do is defend for 3 minutes and that should be essentially be game. Or he could attack and finish the game. Either way he wants to, I mean. But one thing that Vindies is actually surprisingly vulnerable to is the Cryogeddon up here. A lot of his buildings are very, very close together and very clumped up. A Cryogeddon like this can be very, very powerful, and that's exactly what he's using right now. Moving in, even getting Tanya, but it all gets frozen down. And this is what happens when you start to just joke around a little bit. He loses so much stuff. That Cryogeddon was devastating. I mean, I still don't expect him to lose the game at this stage. But that was a lot of losses. These Riptides should be able to deal with this army, but that was a lot of losses that he really did not have to take. Actually, saying that, with MCV being frozen down that little bit, MCVs do not unfreeze. It's a little bug in the game. So essentially, this MCV will be building slower and moving slower and everything more slowly for the rest of the game, which is just something that you never want to have, really. But moving in with the MCV push, Vindies might have just been taking it a bit too easy for a little bit long, and now all of a sudden he's in some trouble. If he loses this game, it will possibly be one of the biggest, I feel like, throws in quite some time. But there it goes, finally gets a Mirage tank out, and he should be able to wreak havoc against this infantry army. Of course, doesn't want to overcommit. The infantry very, very powerful. and doesn't want to waste this very valuable unit. Let's get some nice crushes off there. And of course the Riptide's helping out in this engagement, like, infinitely so. Now picks off the Mirage tank with that, with those Vindicators. But with all his infantry constantly streaming through, has Vindies managed to lose an unlosable game? Yes, he still has a Chronosphere. But, I mean, I just don't understand how he could have made such a big blunder. That was a really big mistake. Just waiting and just trying to essentially troll his opponent, and that might have just won the game. I mean, obviously he hasn't lost yet, but he's in a very dangerous position. He's lost his tier 3. Yes, he has his Chronosphere, but he needs every unit he can get. You know you're desperate when you sell a refinery to get a Peacekeeper. You know you're desperate when you sell a refinery to get a Peacekeeper. And now camping the armor facility as well. This is just this is a nightmare for everyone watching. I cannot imagine what everyone's thinking at this stage. I mean, this was an unlosable game for Vindies, and he's found a way to lose it. Pika will go ahead, and I mean, if this is the final game for if Pika wins this, he wins the tournament, and yeah, that's it. Vindies has been defeated. Pika will win the strangest loss of a game I've possibly ever seen, and he's gonna take the 4-2 victory. So yeah, congratulations to Pika, I guess. Yeah, well played, Pika. He wins the tournament 4-2 and he comes home with a cash prize. It's a little bit strange, but you know what? Yeah, a little bit strange, but Pika takes the win. Of course, Vindies being a little bit... I can't even think of what he was doing. He was very laid back with his approach to the game at the end. And like I mentioned just before it happened, with all of his buildings right in the same place, Cryogeddon was devastating, and Vindies wasn't prepared for that. Pika taking full advantage, taking his perfect time to attack, and that was it. I mean, he takes the tournament, so congratulations to Pika. He will take first place in this tournament, and yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.